Animal fat melts at 130 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the temperature of a pot of water sitting on a wood stove for 20 minutes. Not boiling, not even simmering, just warm. Hardwood ash, the leftover powder from burning oak, hickory, maple, or any dense wood, dissolves in rainwater to form potassium hydroxide. A strong alkali, a natural lye, the same substance that chemical supply companies now package in plastic bottles and sell for $12 a pound. When rendered fat meets lye water in a pot and is stirred for 20 minutes, the molecules rearrange. Fat ceases to be fat, lye ceases to be lye. A new compound forms, the sodium or potassium salt of a fatty acid. The common name for that compound is soap. This process is called saponification. It has been performed by human beings for over 5,000 years. The Babylonians recorded it on clay tablets in 2800 BC. Every civilization since, Egyptian, Roman, Celtic, Germanic, colonial American, made soap the same way, from waste fat, from wood ash, from water. At zero cost before 1940, no American family bought soap. They made it, on the back porch, in a cast iron pot, from the scraps of last night's dinner and the ash from last night's fire. The entire process took 20 minutes and produced enough soap to last months. Then an $8 billion industry explained to them why that was no longer good enough. The global soap and personal care industry generates $207 billion a year. In the United States, consumers spend approximately $8 billion annually on soap products alone. Bar soap, liquid hand soap, body wash, antibacterial soap. Procter & Gamble, Unilever, and Colgate-Palmolive control the majority of that market. 3 companies, selling a product that every household in America once made for free. The average American spends between $60 and $120 a year on soap and body wash. That does not include shampoo, conditioner, face wash, shaving cream, or any of the other products that branched off from the original. The single bar of handmade soap that once handled every one of those tasks. Walk down the soap aisle at any American grocery store. Count the products: bar soap, liquid soap, foaming soap, antibacterial soap, moisturizing soap, exfoliating soap, sensitive skin soap, sport soap, charcoal soap, oatmeal soap, soap for men, soap for women, soap for women, soap for the morning, soap for the evening. Every single one of them performs the same chemical function. Saponified fat molecules, lifting oil and dirt from skin and suspending them in water. That is what soap does. That is all soap does. It has done it the same way for 5,000 years. The difference between a bar your great-grandmother made in a cast iron pot and a $7 bar wrapped in recycled craft paper with a lavender sprig on the label is not chemistry. It is marketing. The molecules are identical. The reaction is identical. The cleaning action is identical. The price is not. A single batch of homemade soap uses roughly $2 worth of lye, if you buy it instead of leaching it from ash, and waste fat that would otherwise be thrown away. That batch produces 10 to 15 bars. Each bar lasts 4 to 6 weeks. 1 afternoon of work, 1 year of soap, $2, or $0 if you make your own lye. The commercial version of that same product costs $6 to $12 per bar at current retail. It comes in plastic packaging, ships in a cardboard box, crosses 3 state lines in a diesel truck, and sits under fluorescent lights on a shelf until you pay for it. No manufacturing plant, no supply chain, no plastic wrapper, no truck, no shelf, no register, no receipt, just a pot, some fat, and some ash. In 1916, Procter & Gamble faced a problem. The company had been selling commercially manufactured soap since 1837, but most American households, particularly in rural areas and working-class cities, still made their own. Homemade lye soap was free. It worked. There was no reason to buy a factory version of something you could make from dinner scraps, so P&G changed the product. In 1917, the company introduced Ivory Flakes, a soap reformulated specifically for washing machines, the new appliance entering American homes. The pitch was not that homemade soap was bad. The pitch was that modern life required modern soap. New machines, new formulas. New products for a new era. Then came the decisive turn. In 1933, P&G launched Oxydol's own Ma Perkins, one of the first daytime radio serials. It was a show about a kind, wise woman dispensing advice, sponsored entirely by Oxydol laundry soap. The company did not just sell soap during the program. The company built the program around the soap. It wrote the scripts, it owned the characters, it controlled the narrative. Within 5 years, P&G was sponsoring over 20 daytime serials. The genre became known permanently as the soap opera. By 1938, the regulatory landscape shifted to match. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938 redefined consumer products into categories. Products that claimed to cleanse and contain synthetic ingredients were classified as cosmetics, subject to FDA labeling oversight. Products made from traditional saponification, fat plus alkali, were left in a regulatory gray area. Homemade soap was not banned. It was simply excluded from the system of trust that the new regulations created. Factory soap had FDA oversight, ingredient labels, safety testing stamps. Homemade soap had none of those things. Not because it was dangerous, but because it was never enrolled. The message to the consumer was subtle and devastating. Regulated means safe. Unregulated means risk. The soap your mother made is unregulated. The soap on the shelf is approved. By the 1950s, the suppression was complete, but it did not come from a single law or a single company. It came from saturation. Procter & Gamble spent the equivalent of $900 million of today's dollars every year on advertising. Lever Brothers, now Unilever, matched them. Every magazine, every radio show, every television commercial told the same story. Modern soap is better. Homemade soap is the past. Home economics curricula changed. Textbooks published after 1955 taught women to select commercial cleaning products, not to make them. The USDA extension programs that had distributed lye soap recipes to rural families during the Depression quietly stopped printing them by the early 1960s. The recipes were not retracted. They were simply never reprinted. A formula that had been free for 200 years was not disproven, not outlawed, not improved upon. It was defunded, deplatformed, and replaced by a product that cost 600% more and performed identically. The process has 3 stages: rendering the fat, making or acquiring the lye, combining them. The total active labor is under 1 hour. The result is 10 to 15 bars of soap that will last a household 4 to 12 months depending on use. Stage 1. Rendering the fat. Every time you cook meat, beef, pork, chicken, bacon, lamb, fat is left behind. Trimmings, drippings, pan grease. In modern kitchens, this fat goes into the trash or down the drain. In every American kitchen before 1945, it went into a collection jar. Take your saved cooking fat. Any combination works, though beef tallow and pork lard produce the hardest, longest-lasting bars. Place it in a large pot. Add an equal volume of water. Bring it to a low simmer, not a rolling boil, and maintain that temperature for 1 hour. The heat melts the fat completely, and the water separates out impurities, bits of meat, spices, burned residue. After an hour, remove the pot from heat. Let it cool completely. As it cools, the clean fat rises to the surface and solidifies into a white or cream-colored disc. The impurities settle to the bottom with the water. Lift the fat disc off. Scrape any brown residue from the underside. What you now have is rendered tallow or lard, pure, clean, ready for soap. Cost, $0. You were going to throw this away. Stage 2, the lye. Lye is the alkali that transforms fat into soap. There are 2 paths. Path 1, the historical method. Collect hardwood ash from any wood fire. Oak, hickory, maple, and ash wood produce the strongest lye. Place the ash in a wooden barrel or bucket with a small hole at the bottom, lined with straw to act as a filter. Pour rainwater through the ash slowly. The water that drips out the bottom is potassium hydroxide solution, lye water. Your great-grandmother tested its strength by floating a feather or an egg in it. If the feather dissolved quickly or the egg floated with a quarter-sized circle of shell above the surface, the lye was ready. This method costs $0 and uses materials that are otherwise waste. Path 2, the modern shortcut. Purchase food-grade sodium hydroxide, sold as lye or caustic soda at any hardware store or soap supply company. A 2-pound container costs $3 to $5 and makes 10 to 20 batches of soap. This is the same compound, just manufactured and standardized for consistency. A single batch requires roughly 6 ounces. Both methods work. The historical method costs nothing. The modern method costs about 50 cents per batch and gives more predictable results for a first attempt. One critical safety note. Lye is a strong alkali. It will burn skin on contact and must never be ingested. When mixing lye into water, always add lye to water, never water to lye. Work in a ventilated area. Wear rubber gloves. Keep vinegar nearby. Vinegar neutralizes lye on contact. Your great-grandmother knew every one of these precautions. She taught them to her daughters the same way she taught them to stir. Stage 3, saponification. Making the soap, melt your rendered fat in a large stainless steel or enamel pot. Do not use aluminum. Lye reacts with aluminum. Heat the fat to approximately 130 degrees Fahrenheit. It should be liquid but not hot. In a separate heat-safe container, glass or heavy plastic, slowly add your lye to cold water. The standard ratio for bar soap is 1 part lye to 2.5 parts water by weight. For a basic batch using 2 pounds of rendered tallow, you need approximately 6 ounces of sodium hydroxide dissolved in 15 ounces of water. The solution will heat up on its own. Let it cool to approximately 100 degrees. When both the fat and the lye solution are near the same temperature, between 95 and 110 degrees, slowly pour the lye solution into the fat. Stir steadily. In a Depression-era kitchen, this was done with a wooden spoon for 20 to 40 minutes. With a modern stick blender, the process takes 5 to 10 minutes. You are watching for trace. The point at which the mixture thickens to the consistency of thin pudding and a spoon dragged across the surface leaves a visible line. At trace, saponification is underway. The fat and lye are converting into soap. At this point, pour the mixture into any mold. A lined shoebox, a wooden drawer, a silicone baking pan, a cut section of PVC pipe. Cover with a towel and let it sit for 24 hours. Then unmold it, cut it into bars, and set the bars on a rack in open air for 4 weeks. This curing period allows the remaining moisture to evaporate and the saponification to complete fully. After 4 weeks, the bars are hard, long-lasting, and ready for use. 10 to 15 bars from a single batch. Each bar lasts 4 to 6 weeks. Total material cost, if using purchased lye, approximately 50 cents. If using ash lye, 0. That is the entire process. The same one performed in every American household from the colonial period through the Second World War. The same one the $8 billion soap industry needed you to forget. In 1935, at the height of the Great Depression, a farmwife in rural Tennessee rendered fat from 3 hogs slaughtered in November. From that fat, combined with ash lye made from the oak she burned all winter, she produced enough soap to wash clothes, scrub floors, bathe 4 children, and clean every dish in her kitchen for the entire year. She spent nothing. She bought nothing. She made it all from materials that would have otherwise been waste. This was not exceptional. This was standard. In Appalachia, in the Ozarks, in the Great Plains, in the Deep South, in the tenement kitchens of New York and Chicago, wherever families could not afford commercial products, they made soap. And their homes were clean. Their clothes were clean. Their children were clean. The colonial families at Jamestown made soap. The women who crossed the Oregon Trail made soap. The families who survived the Dust Bowl made soap. For 200 years, the ability to produce soap from nothing was considered as fundamental as the ability to cook food or start a fire. The Gauls made soap from tallow and beech ash in the 3rd century. Aleppo, Syria, has produced olive oil soap using the same cold process method for over 1,000 years. The knowledge is not American. It is human. It spans every continent, every century, every economic class. The chemistry has not changed. The fat molecule has not evolved. The alkali reaction has not been updated. A bar of soap made in a farmhouse kitchen in 1935 and a bar of soap made in a Unilever factory in 2026 perform the same chemical function. They create micelles that surround oil and dirt particles and allow water to wash them away. One costs nothing. One costs $7. The only thing that changed was the story. The story that soap is complicated. The story that soap requires a factory. The story that the version your great-grandmother made in a cast-iron pot on the porch is somehow less safe, less clean, or less real than the one wrapped in plastic on a shelf. It was never true. For $0, using fat you were going to discard and ash you were going to sweep out, you can make a year's supply of soap in one afternoon. The same soap, the same chemistry, the same result. No factory, no truck, no shelf. No $7 price tag. The complete Depression-era household manual, including the exact soap recipe with measurements, curing instructions, and variations for laundry, dishes, and personal care, is linked in the description below. 100 formulas. Every product in your home replaced. The complete Depression-era household manual. 100 formulas that replace every product in your home. https://beforethysouldit.netlify.app tomorrow. The Depression-era pantry system that fed a family of 8 for $2 a week. The grocery industry has spent 80 years making sure you never learn it. Every product in your home once had a $0 version. They buried it. Now you know.